What's going on, guys? Matt from DSR here, and if you've seen any of my KTM GT videos, you'll know I didn't have a great experience with that bike.
There it is, ladies and gents. MTC engine failure.
Quick caption, bought it brand new, within 50 miles engine light came on, and it took about 6 months of back and forth with KTM before I managed to get rid of the bike and hand it back. Now, I didn't think I'd be making this video so soon, but I did buy a BMW GS 1250 second-hand 2019 plate, and I'm going to be covering off some experiences I've had because I did actually have the engine light come on. This is not just a video of me slagging BMW off. I just thought I'd give you my experiences on it, ringing up BMW Assist and kind of what the process was and the fallout of the problem. Probably pushing 6 weeks ago. Probably pushing 6 to 8 weeks ago. Saturday morning, I went to go on the bike, turned it on, done a couple of miles, turned it off, jumped back on, turned it on again, and the engine light came on. Obviously, it popped up with a little sign saying, stop riding and go to a BMW mechanic ASAP. It's not what I wanted to hear because I was actually heading out that day to go and film a camping video for the channel. So obviously that had to get sacked. I returned home and put the bike in the garage. I must say there was no visible signs of any problems. And the bike didn't feel any different. There was no obvious sounds or noises or knocks, or there was nothing visually to make me think that there was a problem. I rang BMW Assist around lunchtime on the number below. They rang me back at 2:45, saying that a mechanic would be with me by 4:15. Bearing in mind this was a Saturday. On that call, BMW Assist did say that the mechanic couldn't fix it there and then. He wouldn't be able to retrieve it back to Dick Lovett because it was the weekend, and then a collection van would come down next Tuesday to pick it up. Bearing in mind, I was told that the mechanic would be with me by 4:15. At 4:20, I received a text saying the mechanic would be with me in another 82 minutes. So now we're talking around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. Come 1800, still no mechanic had turned up. So I actually rang BMW Assist just to kind of check on his progress, see what time he was coming. And I was told that the mechanic had seen the bike. So at 2:10, he'd opened the job, and 2:15, he'd closed the job, stating he couldn't fix it there and then, and it would need to be collected. Bearing in mind, I had a phone call half hour after that point to tell me the mechanic was still coming to me. So there was clearly some miscommunication between BMW Assist and the mechanic, let alone with myself. Because I had been waiting in all afternoon for this mysterious mechanic to turn up, and he didn't, and clearly he'd blown the job out because it was a weekend. I did raise a complaint, and actually, turns out a couple of days later I got an email from BMW customer service section, and I made £100 cash back for my troubles. So it is always worth, if you do have any issues, raise a complaint. Even if it's just a case that they look into it and it gets fixed and sorted for the next person who rings up BMW Assist. Obviously, where the mechanic said he couldn't collect it that day, it then turned it on to the bike getting collected. So it was arranged that Tuesday morning, someone would come, collect the bike, and then take it up to Dick Lovett. So that's the first initial part of being an issue with my bike, trying to get it fixed, obviously no mechanic, and then it being collected on the Tuesday. The second segment was you are entitled to a replacement vehicle or a hire vehicle to cover you up to 2 or 3 days, I believe, as per the small print. This is where the next few issues arose. BMW Assist get in contact with a hire car company around you, and that's who then deals with you getting a hire car. For me, it was Enterprise in Yeovil. They told me that my hire car couldn't start until once the bike was collected. So obviously that's going to be Tuesday onwards. Due to my work, Tuesday, Wednesday, I wasn't available to collect a vehicle. I'd arranged for the vehicle to be delivered to me on Thursday because I had no way of getting to Yeovil to actually collect the vehicle. Thursday morning comes. I'm expecting the vehicle to be dropped off in the morning time. I then get a phone call from Enterprise asking what time am I going to come pick it up. This was about 11 o'clock. They asked me what time I was coming to pick the car up. And as I stated, I was like, oh, you guys may be dropping it off to me. Woman on the phone said, no, according to our notes, you're a walk-in customer. Again, I complained with that. Didn't get any money off this time. But it's just frustrating because I know 100% that I didn't go and pick it up Tuesday, Wednesday, because I couldn't go there, and it needed to be dropped off, and Thursday was the first day it could be dropped off to myself. It's just frustrating with the lack of communication between companies nowadays. Due to what I was doing on the weekend, I couldn't go and collect the vehicle, so I had to cancel it completely. So I was left without no replacement vehicle from the hire car company. Again, very frustrating. Moving on to the bike then, whilst I was at Dick Lovett, they emailed me to let me know that the bike had arrived at the dealership, so it was in their possession. Happy days. They then told me they wouldn't be able to get to looking at the bike for another 2 to 3 weeks. And as you know, I do YouTube full time, and I use my bike sometimes every day to go to dealerships to go and make my videos. So for me personally, waiting 2-3 weeks without a vehicle or without a bike wasn't possible. Looking at the small print again in the BMW Assist and the warranty side, you are actually entitled to a courtesy bike whilst your bike is in the service centre. I was arranging that out. Whilst this was happening, the mechanic managed to chuck the bike on and connect it to the OBD and see what was wrong with it. Turns out it was just a faulty exhaust flap. Note to self, buy an OBD reader, so I could have checked that out myself and realised it probably wasn't the biggest offender. I didn't need to worry so much, but we live and learn. The mechanic tested the bike on the Friday, so bearing in mind it turned up Tuesday, tested it on the Friday, realised it was just a small problem, and they managed to put the order in straight away for the part. That part then turned up Monday, and I was told it was going to be fixed Monday. Turns out it wasn't fixed, and it wasn't put in until Wednesday. Bearing in mind at all this point I didn't have a hire car company or a replacement bike at this point. Once I was told it was fixed, I actually managed to rope in Zoe on one of her days off. She drove me up to Dick Lovett in Bristol where I could pick it up on that Thursday. Overall then, in just over a week from the bike turning up to Dick Lovett, even though I was told 2 to 3 weeks, it was actually sorted, fixed, good to go and collected. My experience with this then, BMW Assist, they're okay, but the problem is there's a very lack of communication, like I said, between the different elements within their department, i.e. the people you're speaking to and the mechanic. There was no communication back and forth to me, apart from telling me that the mechanic was coming, which obviously it wasn't, so that was frustrating. Unlike KTM, actually BMW were a lot more receptive. Like I said, they come and pick the bike up, they would have dropped it off, but I chose to go up there to collect it. Whereas with KTM, I was having to drive up and back to Bristol to drop off the bike every single time that it needed to get fixed. My personal experience so far has been positive. There has been some frustrations and negative with it, but overall the bike's back, it's working, it's fixed, and I've had absolutely zero issues with any other problems so far. Like I said at the start, this isn't just a bit of a bitch and moan. This is just kind of an experience from my side, so other people, if they do need to ring up BMW Assist, they know the kind of process that they might be looking at, just to help anyone else that might be in the same predicament as myself. The main thing being we do have a positive outcome, so I'm a happy man. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Just a quick one, so if you found it helpful, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and until the next one, ride safe.